All right, so angle iron, right? Like 4x2 for like base angles or sag angles or something. A lot of people have questions. They're like, hey, we're not seeing this stuff. What we actually do with that, when you have a trim, almost every building's gonna have a trim package. We'll take the 4x2 angle and we put it on the outside of the trim box. So that's not there only for the trim box. That's material that you need for the truck. So if you're not finding that while you're doing your inventory, take a look at the trim box. Sometimes we put like obtuse angle, like 3x3 open angles or something inside of the trim box in the bottom. It just makes the trim box hold up a whole lot better. So there's two 12x12 openings and then three 18x14s, I believe. They're either 16x14 or 18x14. I'll figure it out in a little bit. So I decided to go ahead and start on the first bay of the end wall here. And I'm doing this a little bit different. Aaron was asking me, hey Eric, what the heck are you doing? I like to do as much work as possible on the ground. I grabbed my DJ1, I grabbed my DJ2, and we should be showing you those on the drawings right now. And I went ahead and I got the clips on. So we used to do everything in the building all welded clip. We advertised that, and we've kind of changed the way we do that, and I'll explain. Since we did change, so all of our clips are welded on heavy iron, right? So anything that a purlin or a girt is going to be bolting to is going to be pre-welded. Even on cold form, like cold form rafters, all of that's going to be pre-welded. The only thing that we're not pre-welding anymore is basically door jambs and door headers. We do go ahead and weld on the base plate on the door jambs, but we don't weld on the clips. When we build these up, or when we weld them and the clips are on, and we'll bundle them, the only good way to do it is to bundle 6 or 8 or however many together, and we slide the clips in so they're facing each other. And as much as we ask truck drivers not to overstrap this stuff, and this stuff always goes on top of the load, when they're like that, they're real prone to strap damage. And we had a lot of customer service issues. I had to send out a lot of material due to trucking damage. Of course, any damage during shipping that truck drivers or the trucking companies are supposed to pay, of course they do not. We even tried like putting blocks of wood in between, but those blocks of wood would fall out, and truckers, they check their straps again and again as they're going down the road, and eventually they'll get damaged. So base plates only, and then we have to bolt these on. So it is a little bit more work, but it's a whole lot better to spend an extra hour or something erecting the building than waiting a week and a half for replacement parts because of shipping damage. So these clips, I think they're CL103s. They just bolt into the pre-punched holes here. I didn't put a clip there for a reason. It gets a different clip and it goes on this side. And on these, because they get cover trim like this, you get what we call a fin neck bolt. Or some people call them round heads, button heads, basically a carriage bolt. They have these little fins on them. So as you tighten the nut, these fins will dig into the outside of the steel, and that's what holds it in place. The reason we're using a fin neck or a button head bolt is because the door jambs on garage door openings are going to get cover trim. That way the building looks nice from the outside, because garage doors roll down on the inside. So you're going to see this part of the structure from the outside of the building. And if we were to use a standard hex head bolt, we wouldn't be able to get this trim on and make it fit real nice. Now this building here has girts on 2-foot centers. Standard placement for a first girt is at 7'4", and then about 4 to 5 feet after that, depending on the overall height of the building. So this looks like a lot, and it is, but this is kind of a unique situation because of the snow load and the way that we're designing the building. So it only took me about 5 minutes to get all of these on. I did go ahead, when I placed these, I grabbed a tape measure from the end of the base plate and measured out to 1 foot or 2 foot, and that's where we want the top of this plate. If you don't get it perfect, it doesn't matter, but these holes are a little weeby wobbly. They're slotted for a reason so that there is some play, but we want to make sure that they're level. Before I bolted these in, I took the speed square and just verified that they were flat. And it's a 6-inch clip on an 8-inch jamb, so I'm holding 1 inch and 1 inch to just keep it centered. And I just worked my way up and got those on there. So door header, or the header trim, is going to have to be installed once the frame, or once the opening is in place. So I'm going to go ahead and start pop riveting this in, and I'm going to keep the outside up against. These are a little bit wider just for the tolerances in cold form. And my first pop rivet I'm going to place is going to be perfectly centered on the flange of the door jamb rather than centered in this. I'm going to hold it there. I'm going to go 2 inches, and then I'm going to go 24 inches on center the rest of the way up. This is the DJ2. So this is the longer one, so I will actually hold it this way because this is going to be the outside of the building. I'm also going to hold the trim up from the base plate about a 1/16 of an inch. Just so I know that I have clearance when we go to set this on the concrete, we're not going to accidentally drag the trim and bend it. On most buildings, we're going to come back in and we're going to silicone around the bottom, especially on the outside, but also on the inside, you know, while you're there, just to stop water. So we'll use brown silicone to wrap that, and you'll never see it. It'll be a really, really nice, nice looking piece of trim work. Once I have this trim attached, I'm going to grab my step bit, and from the back side, I'm going to drill a hole in this, and then I'm going to place this clip upside down. And then later, once it's standing, we can put the door header underneath. Because I'm doing it that way, I'm not going to have to do any trimming on this trim. You just run it long. You'll never notice it from the inside. It's going to look good. I think it looks better. The other way is to install the clip, install the door header, and then come in and install this. But in order to do that, so you don't have a joint there, you need to trim the web of the trim back. And it's tough work, and you never get a perfectly straight cut. This is going to allow us to, you know, even if we don't get a perfect cut on the cover trim for the header, it's all going to be browned, so it's going to look really, really nice. And that's the reason I like to do it that way. And besides, like I said, it's easier to do it on the ground. This trim is really janky and easy to bend. So when you're handling it on the job site, especially, we got some 20-footers over there for these wider doors. 2 or 3 people when you're carrying it around. You can see there's a little crease already in there just from pulling it out of the box. So, all right, we'll see you in the next one.